I'm drinking green tea with my little green friend. Hello, world! I'm Chris Pirillo, and this marks the very first time in about, let's see here, at least 5 hours that I have not been touching my Pixel 2 XL. I've got it right here. I have been playing with it all day. And as you can imagine, the battery is probably not doing very well. In fact, it's at 27% at 4 p.m. Pacific. I got up about 9 a.m. Pacific and have been playing with it near nonstop. So that's 75% battery if you do the calculations. And it's on a downward slope, downward trajectory. But I would say it's doing fairly well. That was 7 hours ago. It says I have 4 hours left. I believe it. I don't know if I'm going to run it down exactly to zero, but the nice thing about having this device is that it does support fast charging, meaning I could get to where I may need to get in terms of juice within an hour's time. Granted, it could always do better and charge even faster than it charges now, but it'll work. And that's without any additional battery outright. So I thought today what we would do is spend some time talking about my experience, my initial experience with the Google Pixel 2 XL, which I'm probably going to mess up a few times over, knowing full well that I have been spending pretty much every waking moment dealing with it. This is kind of a review of sorts, just kind of letting you know where my mind's at. Really, my first review of the Google Pixel 2 XL. I should let you know that I have not really touched the Pixel 2 and am still kind of inclined to sideline the Pixel 2 and potentially even send it back after possibly running it through some paces here after I get my potential new flagship phone setup. Most of my experience has been in relation to the software, not so much the hardware. Although we did talk a bit about the hardware last night in the live streams. There were 2 live streams. We ended up separating them. There was the Google Pixel 2 unboxing and the Google Pixel 2 XL unboxing. And we uploaded a higher quality version in case you missed it. You may have seen a muddier version that has now been addressed in the new video. We'll be doing TLDR later, talking more about the Google Pixel experience, taking your questions and answering them as we normally do in TLDR every day at youtube.com/lockergnome. After that, we'll be going over to twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo to record the podcast. Over on my Twitch profile is where you can sign up to become a sub to join this Discord chat, open 24/7, geeking out about all sorts of things, up and down, all over the place. You can also join Discord chat 24/7 by heading over to my Patreon campaign, patreon.com/Chris Pirillo. It looks like Jack Daniels has broken the ice. Thank you, Jack, posting the very first super chat for today. He says, "Hey, Chris, how's the Pixel treating you?" Well, I will tell you, I'm inclined to continue to use it. I don't think that's, a glowing recommendation for everybody. But, that's, I would say, in stark contrast to other Android experiences I've had, which may have worked well enough, but not enough to get me over the hump of, potentially continuing to want to use the device. I have, of course, been keeping up with news, and I guess there have been quite a few stress tests placed on the Google Pixel series, the new series, the 2s, and they don't handle stress very well. Like, the plastic back can scratch easily, and it can bend easily, so I'm not going to go and bend things. I will be getting a case on it. In fact, I think my Moment case shipped with the lenses. I talked about this last night. Moment makes a series of lenses for your smartphone, potentially. They're not sponsoring anything, but this is effectively like you get like you can get a wide angle, you can get a telephoto, you can get a macro lens and a fisheye, and I'm getting 3 of those. I'm not getting the fisheye outright, and I emailed them to try to clarify something in the process, and I haven't heard back from them. It may be a pretty busy Friday. Thank you, Adam Toms, for posting the second super chat for the Pixel Fund, and I do intend on, at some point during this video, showing the current list of names that we have in the features that we showed last night for the people who had basically sponsored this particular device or series of devices. So please stay tuned for that as I get feedback from everybody. These Pixel sponsors, I was kind of getting them pulled up. I thought, though, I would just begin by... Oh, I did TLDR and Chris Pirillo. Wait a minute. Huh? Wait. What? No, I didn't. This is This is CP. I'm in the right channel. I'm absolutely in the right channel. I know where I'm at. TLDR did not show up on my YouTube for you. Well, I don't know what to say because I'm definitely in the right channel. I'm not confused. Don't know if anybody else is confused, but this is where I intended on basically giving my initial impressions. So I hope to be able to continue. If everybody doesn't mind, that'd be great. I have not reached for the iPhone very often, and this is the first note that I made. I don't think that says it all. It's just that apart from needing to check something or wanting to look at something that wasn't yet installed, I wasn't doing any side-by-side comparisons outright, but I did not find myself just instinctually reaching for the phone. If I wanted to check Facebook, I could check Facebook. Twitter, I could check Twitter. I have to find another third-party Twitter client. People have recommended Flamingo and Phoenix, and I'm not sure which one of those two I would like to try first. It possibly will be Flamingo. That seemed to have captured most of the community's attention, so I'm not inclined to do that. I said, my notice said I was live on TLDR. Oh, well, I don't know why. This is not TLDR. If I confused anybody, I apologize. Moving along, let's continue with the initial impressions. I do think that it was telling in the sense that I didn't feel I needed to go to the iPhone for something. And then when I did, I experienced, something that's only dramatically, contrasting when you use one device and then flip to another. And I would use the iPhone thinking that, oh, the iPhone has got to be smoother. And I found many cases where the iPhone default experiences were not substantially smoother, if hardly ever smoother at all, compared to my experience on the Pixel 2 XL, which is just kind of shocking to me. The title says to you, oh, I know why. Let me explain something. To anybody watching live, I'm using Elgato software, and I've already reported this as a bug. This is not TLDR. Okay. I can't edit the title, but the software that really kind of doesn't work well, shame on you, Elgato, basically clobbers anything that we put on YouTube as the metadata. I've tried to fix this, and I try to remember to change the title, but I'm just one guy doing this stuff live. Thank you for your patience. That's where the confusion set in. This is definitely not anything to be confused. Sometimes Discord chat, for some reason, sticks, so I have to remember to scroll that down. I gotta run my own tech support and my own internet broadcast and do I gotta do it all. Well, here I have to do it all. Liz does help facilitate a great chunk of tasks, and I'm very appreciative of that. But I noticed that, I'm thinking, well, maybe as I'm scrolling, it just doesn't seem to be very clean. And then I go to the iPhone, I'm like, it was even worse. So I'll get to some more of the scrolling perf points in just a bit, but I think the thing I wanted to point out was in flipping back and forth between the two, the poor performance of the iPhone 8 Plus was more dramatically visible in flipping back and forth between the two. I can tell you with a great degree of confidence that for the most part, and there are exceptions to this rule, potentially tied into third-party software, an Android experience, specifically on a Pixel 2 XL, is a smoother experience generally compared to iOS on an iPhone 8 Plus specifically. We do have another super chat that just came in. Varghese Ayadel. See, I understand what that says. I blame the software and me forgetting to change the title. We'll change the title when it's done. Let's move on. For all of us that want better, says Varghese, well thought out and developed software experience. Give them the truth always. I will work on it. I will do it. I promise. That is my hope. I've been making notes, though it has been challenging because I don't know in terms of where to place these notes. I don't know if it's a Pixel problem. I don't know if it's a Google software problem. I don't know if it's an Android problem. I don't know if it's a 2XL problem. And so I'm doing my best to kind of, figure out, well, where do I put this? And how do I accommodate this so if I show my feedback to somebody, they can figure it out. It's difficult to report every frame drop, too. I think Google is very well aware that it happens. Sometimes menus, as they slide back, they kind of stick. and then they go, like they just jump. And it's not a smooth experience. It's not something that has effectively been as mitigated as I would like to in stepping down animations to half speed or 50%. But still, I would say that it was still a better experience. In scrolling even in the default Twitter, or not default, but Twitter's own app, was dramatically different. I'm like, wow, it's smoother on Android. I can't make this stuff up. I am still getting things set up though. That is for sure. Nothing's 100% yet, but I am inching towards okay, I feel I could leave the house with this and be fine. I'm not there yet. It's not as easy as that, unfortunately, outright. If only because I'm still figuring out nuances and what's this do and how does that work and do I want this turned on? Do I want that turned off? There's an option that allows you to swipe down or swipe up on the fingerprint sensor to pull down the menu. And honestly, I thought that'd be neat, right? Like, oh, I can do that, and like I don't want to do that. I found out that it's more often than not accidentally brushed, and then the menu pops down, and that would annoy me. It began to annoy me, so I turned it off. I did get another super chat here from Ivan Garcia, and thanks again for all your super chats. I do appreciate it. Did I name my Pixel yet? Am I still naming it beginning with a P? I don't know. Outright. I really don't know. I don't have an answer to that question. It's still currently called Pixel 2 XL. Very, very exciting. Maybe I'll go with... maybe I will stick with the P's. But, honestly, I've always liked the word, a lot. I mean, in fact, I'm wearing pixel art. I did this shirt years ago. Kelly Issaquah designed it. We tried selling pixel art shirts, and no one bought any. I think like 3 people bought these, and I don't know if I'd get back into selling these. If I could find it a pixel art designer, maybe we can do pixel art stuff. But outright, I'm not sure. I don't have an answer to that question. You're really grinding this channel back. Good stuff. Thank you, Big Fat. Great name. I did see a question as I scroll back up to remember scroll back down from Earl Green. Will you do an iPhone 8 Plus Pixel 2 lick taste test comparison? Surprisingly, I didn't see a lot of animated GIFs of that last night. Thank you very much. I appreciate not everybody posting animated GIFs. Have you been spending evil time with the Tune the 2XL? No, the juiciest of J's, I have not. I kind of mentioned that earlier in the broadcast, but for those who tuned in a little late, that's been covered. So I do see another assertion here in chat, but I'm going to try to keep this focused on my experience with my review, really, of the Pixel 2 XL. And to me, the only review you need to hear is I'm still using it. I still want to set it up. I'm pushing forward. I don't feel remorse, regret, or anything. I'm not seeing, a lot of, glaring issues. And again, to go back to what I had said before, this is largely about software, not necessarily the hardware experience outright. Although if you do have any hardware-related questions, feel free to ask when we get to that portion of this video. It's snappy in general. I like the fact that it doesn't feel like I'm waiting for something to happen very often. Sometimes it'll pause. Like I ran into, some things have disappeared. Like I don't know how things got turned off or toggled. I don't know if I did that or they went away with something else. But I thought there was a third preference in the Pixel in the menu, and then it disappeared on me, and I don't know why. I don't know what I toggled. I hate when that happens, though. Let me see if I can find it on this one. Oh no, it just opens calendar. Okay, maybe I just got to get that set up later. That's one of the things I could do, though, is I can compare those two back and forth and not worry about it. See, I'm looking at my Pixel 2 XL on the table right now at an angle, and it's definitely bluey. It's blue, like the light that's being reflected off my glasses. But is that like, oh my god? No. There's a little hardware thing for you. That still isn't annoying me like it might annoy other people. Not outright. Okay, so the next thing that I had, some app equivalents seem to be snappier, fewer frame drops. So Facebook is kind of a wash, but Facebook is just a little more smooth on this device than it is on the iPhone 8 Plus. So it's a third-party app that we all use. It's not exactly the fastest app in the world. It still is in the process of being improved. But for the most part, I find that the Facebook experience is a bit more smooth on the Pixel 2 XL compared to the iPhone 8 Plus. So it's not about the speed of the device, right? It's about the optimization of the code. It's about how that platform accommodates that software. More importantly, I found that same experience, and I'd mentioned this before kind of jokingly, the Star Wars app, runs better on Android than iOS. I've got a couple of other apps that I've used on iOS that have Android equivalents, and they also run like insanely more smooth. It could be down to the framework. It could be down to the optimization. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question. But I would say that 90% of the time it's been better on Android than on iOS. 90%. Because in the one or two cases with apps that I use, it's just like, ouch. Oh, this is so bad on Android. Like, this is worse than iOS, and iOS wasn't good to begin with. I hate those apps. I hate them. But of course, I've been trudging through and trying to think, what else do I need to set up? What has an equivalent on iOS and Android? What can I use to kind of bridge the gap between all of these experiences? And I may be in some cases switching what it is that I rely on for certain services to find something that's more cross-platform compatible, or is certainly cleaner or better on Android. It's just kind of like a rediscovery experience outright. So that's where I am specifically with that. Facebook on the Pixel 2 is un poco más macho. Hang on, I don't know what. Hang on, give me a second. What is? Wait, I gotta unlock it. It's not gonna recognize me if I don't unlock it. What is un poco más macho in English? Oh man, it didn't squeeze right. Why is it? I've been having some weird. Oh, that's why. I'm still getting used to the usability. You don't squeeze and hold. You squeeze and let go. Operator error. I'm still getting used to this stuff. What is un poco más macho in English?
Just over macho.
A little over macho? A little over good? It works. I mean, when you figure out how to use it, I blame myself for that. I sometimes have issues remembering how to do things. But it worked. You see how well that worked? I like the fact that you squeeze it. I'm just getting used to the whole don't squeeze and hold. Don't grip it. It's not a death grip. You just squeeze and let go. That's how it works. So now on to the next point. A fantastically better notification center. I don't know if it's possible to love a notification center, but I really like this notification center a lot. So I can easily I can clean things up. I can swipe them away. The problem is right now I'm waiting for some apps to like get updated to manage notifications better. Like Facebook was like bombarding me with notifications. I'm like, I can't keep up with this, and it was driving me nuts. And I was like, no, I can't keep up. It's like, so I had to turn them all off, and I kept most of them off. Some of them I couldn't toggle all the way to turning off push notifications. I don't receive push notifications from Facebook outright on any iOS device because I would just get flooded. It doesn't work. I have to finely tune those notifications, and so I'm still going through those things. What's nice is that it's just it's easy to see. They're easy to read. I love Instagram, the Instagram notifications, because they give you a preview of the photo in Notification Center. That is such a time saver. I'm like, no, don't need to see it. Like, I just love that. It's so simple. It's so clean. I finally have, an easier way of effectively managing things and seeing things outright. And Notification Center is an absolute dream come true. And if anything is going to, push you over the edge, you don't realize how bad Notification Center is on iOS until you start using it on Android in general, but certainly on the Pixel 2. It's fantastic. I did a post earlier that seemed to go over very well. It was just me kind of messing around. I don't have any icons on the home screen. I need to find a new launcher. I'll get to that in a second. Oops. Let's do this. I gotta remember where I'm going here. I know I put it on. Well, I did put it on Facebook here too. I don't want to launch the story. Yeah, the Facebook app sometimes works well. Sometimes it doesn't. As things are loading, it gets glitchy. But in terms of scrolling, it's a wash between iOS and Android. So I took this picture. I'm not going to show you up close or anything, but take a look at my Facebook page or my Twitter feed. I was just kind of like messing around. It was this morning. I'm like, I'm going to take a selfie with the portrait mode click. And I just not even moving, didn't just sit still or anything. I just held it, stared at it, and pressed the button. And the results were, I think, amazing. Now, I've long said that the feature of portrait mode is a gimmick, and I still feel it's largely in the realm of gimmick. It doesn't mean that it couldn't be useful or work well. The subject notwithstanding, I'm not the kind of guy, and even Liz kind of made fun of me. She laughed because it was a selfie, and I don't generally take selfies all that often. But I was impressed. When people saw, I mean, I tweeted it, untouched. I was just like, here it is. Take a look. I was very, very impressed with the portrait mode. A lot of people were. In fact, the only perceived issue that someone might have noticed was, I can't really zoom in all the way on Facebook, but because of portrait mode, what may have been visible through my lens was not blurred out. It was in focus. So I don't know if the algorithm has necessarily picked up on people with lenses or not, but I was bowled over. I couldn't believe it. I was like, it wasn't a complex background. My ears weren't cut off. Like everything, even underneath the armpit. I mean, it was nice. Not every shot turns out like that, but I was really impressed with it. The only thing I would say is they definitely need to improve the speed of the processing of the portrait mode, or even HDR plus, in the sense that if you press the shutter button, it may take the picture immediately, but sometimes it takes a little while to process that image. Now, what's nice is that, and I'll get to the super chat in a second, Ivan. What's nice is that in just I'd imagine a few months, when Android 8.1 rolls out, we'll have access to the hardware that comes with the Pixels 2, and we'll be able to process those photos more quickly. And so we'll be able to effectively get around that snag with a hardware tweak and continual software tweaks. It's kind of nice. So Ivan asks as a super chat, hey Chris, longtime subscriber, you said that you used your iPhone, so to speak, with Diana's mom. Do you think having the Pixel 2 and earbuds will be better? I don't know. I don't think I'd be inclined to do it. I'd be just inclined to use the app. I don't need earbuds to have a seamless conversation. I would just use the app outright. And it's been years since we've used it to translate back and forth. But it's generally worked fairly well. And I don't have any want, need, or desire to get any more hardware that I would not use for much long after, a one-off thing. Because I'm not into earbuds. Not my thing. Okay, so back to the notes. Scrolling performance is generally better on iOS, and I got to be careful about this because iOS is not perfect, but there are times that I run into, it's not the classic Android jitter, it's not jank necessarily, but it's just the scrolling performance. I'm used to, and I made this as a subnote, I'm used to the velocity by which, when you scroll on iOS, it has a certain kind of feel to it. In Android is a lot more curt. It's a lot shorter. And so you have to kind of scroll a little differently in Android compared to iOS. And we're talking third-party apps, first-party apps, etc. But I'd definitely say that Safari is a far more smooth experience on Android. I'm sorry, on iOS than Google Chrome is right now out of the box on Android. That may improve with future iterations. It may improve, certainly by using third-party apps. Using Brave as my web browser, and I use that because I like the features that are built in. Or, of course, surfing through a VPN that manages a lot of that stuff for you. You can cut down a lot of the script loading and all those additional layers that will more often than not introduce the jank on a scroll. More often than not. Not, of course, every single time, though, unfortunately. I noticed something on Android, and I guess maybe I wasn't paying as much attention, and maybe it's just the different screen going from an LCD to an OLED screen. I would notice that it's kind of a slight ghosting in like words on a page. But it's also kind of present on iOS on the iPhone. It's just different. And there's no perfect solution apart from increasing the refresh rate of the hardware. I would hope that would eventually happen, certainly. But I definitely noticed that when I was scrolling on a webpage, specifically looking at some headlines, and as it was scrolling, it was kind of a ghosting. It would leave this trail. And then I was like, well, I wonder if iOS does that. And it kind of does, but differently. I'm not going to say that it's a horrible experience. I think it's just a kind of a limitation of the hardware right now on any platform outright. The speakers. So I did some tests even last night, playing some sounds, and so I wanted to test the speakers. This is one of the values of getting a Pixel in terms of hardware. And so what I did was I fired up the Google Play Music and effectively had some songs that I thought would be representative. Although I couldn't remember one of the songs that I was listening to on the iPhone 8 Plus that I thought was just incredibly shrill. I mean, it was just so loud. It wasn't loud. It was just the treble was turned up, and so I had to turn down the volume in order to be able to listen to it without like covering my ears. And it seems in side-by-side comparisons that the sounds coming out of the front-firing speakers on the Pixel 2 XL are a bit more, how do I say this? Not well-rounded necessarily, but they're a bit more balanced, less trebly. And so the iPhone 8 Plus has a very treble-intense sound versus the Pixel 2 XL having a more well-rounded sound. Not as, I wouldn't say an incredible amount of bass. You've got, they're phone speakers. They're not amazing. But I found the speakers very nice to listen to even at full volume, even with louder music and trying different types of music. Michael Naseby II comes in with a super chat saying the Pixel Visual Core is in both Pixels Google-made CPU. Yes. And so Google's getting into its own silicon. I think it needs to. I think it should. I think it needs to go further with that, outright. This is, I think, still very much a stepping stone. The Pixel 2 is a stepping stone. I'm hoping for a lot in the next iteration of the Pixel, but I, so far, will tell you, I have generally been impressed. This is, to me, slightly more than a lateral move from iOS for a lot of different reasons. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The next super chat, F43A97, says, I've been hearing a lot of talk about the phone screen having a blue tint. I mentioned this just briefly a few minutes ago. I'm sure if you were a Smurf, you'd love it. It is Smurftastic. But, beyond that, I find that you don't notice until you're comparing it to another screen. That's when you notice. Because then one screen looks too cool. It looks too blue. And the other screen looks too red. Like, there's no... I don't think there's a perfect balance there. And I found that, with having the iPhone side by side with the Pixel 2 XL, the iPhone looks warmer compared to the Pixel, which looks cooler. So... I don't know. It's something that everybody's eyes could get accustomed to. You can toggle right now. You can toggle the increase contrast and increase it by 10%. So I did. I'm like, sure, whatever. I don't think it's made that much of a difference. I'm not having a problem with the colors being, muted, as some have claimed, or being too blue. I discussed this at a great length last night in the broadcast, talking about, my first impressions of the screen quality, and we even turned off the lights, and I did a test in the low light and everything. So my recommendation is, if you want to hear me talk about that, watch the other video after this one at some point, because that's already up and online. So the next question, we got the super chats rolling in. F43A97 comes in with another super chat saying, why doesn't Google create their own processors for these mobile devices from the ground up? I don't think they want to get into that game outright. I think by creating a special processor specifically for what they're doing with photos, it's a certain use case, and I also believe that it could have to do with the arrangement with Qualcomm, and potentially an arrangement with ARM. I don't know how all that stuff works politically, but it's feasible they could. But Google's not a silicon company. I think they could and should, just like I think they should do a better job with their hardware. And that doesn't mean like, include the headphone jack. I don't think that's ever coming back. I think the cat's out of the bag there. The genie's out of the bottle. There's no shoving poop back into the cow. It doesn't work that way. How's that for a visual? That's effectively what people are trying to do. Bring back the headphone jack. It's not coming back. It's more about just the fit and finish and the polish and the general hardware experience for a flagship device. But if I had any concerns, it may have been in not having certain camera features that now I can augment with the moment lenses. So any kind of shortcoming I'm picking up on doesn't seem to be a shortcoming that can't be worked around in the short term. Byron Vizzato 09 comes in with a super chat saying, "Hey Chris, have you heard anything about the extra image processing chip Pixel 2s have that's supposedly being activated in the coming .1 update?" This is what we've been referring to, the Pixel Visual Core. Do a search for that. What you will find, actually, let's see. Can you tell me more about the Pixel Visual Core? Oh, I gotta unlock the device. Hang on.
Here are some results from the web.
So the results that this gave me didn't exactly give me what I was looking for. There's some blog posts, but Google Research blog has information on it. Can you take me to the Google Research blog? No, it wants me to launch Google Duo. I'm going to search. See, at least it gives me the option to search. But if you go to research.googleblog.com, is that it? Yep, Google Research blog. It'd probably be one of the later posts. You want to talk about nerdy, big time nerdy. Portrait mode is explained, and then I believe they also talk further about the chip. Google's definitely covered this extensively and in a better capacity than you might find from third-party journalists. So yeah, check out the Google Research blog if you want to get nerdy. That's the best explainer right there. And then we have another super chat. Soda Water comes in. Boy, y'all are just super chatty tonight. You're making it difficult to move down my list. Not that I mind. I'm not complaining. Not a complaint at all. Thank you, Soda Water. Love the name. Haven't had any in a long while. So let me have a sip of my green tea. I should have warmed that up and topped it off. Back to the notes. We have... If I scroll down, haven't been perturbed by color casting or saturation. I alluded to that. Smart lock is something that it even suggests you can turn on. Like I'd be, moving around and says, "Hey, did you know that you can turn on smart lock?" So if it recognizes that you're moving around with your device, you can simply unlock it, just by picking it up. But you have to be moving around with it after authenticating. That's a big deal. Hey, sweetie. Hi. We're doing a video. Hi, baby. Honey? Okay, we're doing a, yes, baby, we're doing a video. Sweetie, I gotta move on, honey. I gotta move on. Yeah, I gotta keep going because this is gonna be a long one. All right, can you go back to mommy? Actually, wow, were you listening to the live stream? Because I was like, yeah, I almost like topping it off, warming it up. Just pour some boiling water in it. Will be good. Can you help mommy with the tea?
No.
Please? Can I move down my list then? No? Well, what is everybody gonna think? They're here to watch me talk about the Google Pixel 2, baby.
I want to go
You want to go where, baby?
up here.
Oh, you want to be up here with Daddy?
Yeah.
She loves being in the play shop. So Smart Lock will be handy. I wish more information showed up on the always on display, and maybe I've got to install some third-party apps, specifically a good weather app. Baby, please don't touch anything on the desk.
I like these.
Oh, you can play with those, but not much else. Thank you.
I like this.
Okay, thank you. She's playing with the Lego minifigures that I've taken a few pictures of. The ones I got at BrickCon. The X-Wing pilots, the Rebel Alliance. Like weather. I wish I had like a weather.
These are Star Wars.
Those are Star Wars figures. Daddy loves those Star Wars figures.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where you got them?
I got them at BrickCon
Oh,
a few weeks ago.
thank you.
You're welcome. Wait a minute. What do you mean, thank you? No, there's no laughing. Those are Daddy's. We can share.
Yeah.
You know I love you when I share anything with you that's Star Wars and Lego. So I wish more information showed up here. It would just be nice to see at a glance. The weather, which again I'd like to see, but with notification icon showing up, it tells me enough, and that I probably need to get to finding a decent third-party weather application to get something in that array of icons. The assistant doesn't seem to want to start music very well, or it didn't outright. Here, let me unlock it. Oh, it's listening to me. I squeezed it. Give me a second.
Squeeze it?
Yeah, well, I squeezed the phone. So let's see here.
Squeeze the-
What song should we listen to that we can listen to?
Like Han Solo songs.
You like Han Solo songs? Is there a Han Solo song out there? How about Seagulls? Why don't we play Seagulls very, very quietly?
Oh, seagulls.
Seagulls? Okay. Play Seagulls, Stop It Now. I don't have the rights to rebroadcast, but I'm going to see if I can get
Okay,
this.
Seagulls. Stop It Now by Bad Lip Reading. Here it is on Google Play Music.
So it doesn't start playing it, and then it. Whoa! It does now. What? Shh, 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 shh. No, 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 no! I don't have the rights to rebroadcast. Pause. Ah, no, no, no. That was seamless. Earlier it wasn't. Earlier it was a bug. It kept popping me back to preferences, so it worked. Now, there,
Get me!
baby. I think mommy needs to get you though, because daddy's got to move on with this. Okay, baby. Now, just so you know, there are a lot of people who are listening right now. There are, baby. Oh, okay.
Baby, we're gonna go eat.
Oh, there's the comida downstairs.
We're gonna come papas fritas.
So anyway, sometimes this happens.
Pretend we have mustard. Mustard? I can get mustard.
Oh, you go get the mustard.
Yeah.
Thank you, hon.
And Papa's pizza.
Oh, and Papa's Fritas? Oh, man, now I kind of want to join you. All right, guys, I'm done with this review. I'm going to go get some Papa's Fritas. I wasn't joking. Of course I was joking. So I hope everybody doesn't mind. This is why I do what I do, because I love my family. This is something I needed to bring up, because I've run into a few glitches at times that seem to have solved themselves. Like, that's one issue. Like, I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on, and then I tried again and it's fine. Like, there's just been like 2 or 3 things that have happened like that. It's really bizarre. But that was a bug that no longer exists for me. And it's not that I got an update to the Assistant app outright. It's just that it just started working the way that it wasn't working before. I guess I have an issue, and this could be a Gboard issue that I may have to tweak or look into if there's a different setting. But like, if I go into a landscape mode and okay, I'm just the keyboard here in landscape mode is a little long. It's not a really solid layout of the keyboard. I think Google needs to do a better job at oh wow, it's got multi-touch support too. Google needs to do a better job with the landscape keyboard. This screen is so wide that landscape is like, it's you can do it, you can reach both sides, but it's just like really awkward in terms of a layout. I think they could do a better job with a more compact version of that keyboard. The regular keyboard in terms of portrait mode is just fine though. That's not one that I seem to be having a problem with. But the landscape keyboard, specifically Gboard, which I'm very happy with, I'm good. Oh, Gboard can be adjusted in size for landscape and portrait mode. I know you can do right hand, left hand modifications, but thank you, Element 7. I will look into it. I'll look into it now that you say I could, because like I said, I'm still discovering a lot of what's there, you know, and still learning as I kind of go along. So this is a big one for me, and this is something that has been an issue on iOS for years. Like, if I, you know, and I haven't been using iOS that much today, but if I go into Discord, it launches all over again, and then I got to go in, and I got to tap this, and I got to go to the server, and I got to press the button, and I got to go over here, and then look at that, I'm magically in Discord chat, right? Not the case all day in terms of even flipping back to an old app or even relaunching it. You know, I get the Discord screenshot and then I'm blasted in right directly back to where I was. And the same thing has happened specifically with other apps that I always have to reload and refresh, like the YouTube Studio. Now it jumps into right where I was before. Like, it saves so much time. It doesn't reload anything. Now, granted, I've not been playing with a lot of games necessarily, but generally speaking, I have found that a lot of the apps that I've used for, you know, communicating with community, etc., they may refresh, but they inevitably take me back to where I was before in the general spot, rather than having to restart all over again. And I don't know if that's the app developer, I don't know if it's the platform and memory management, but to me, it adds up to a better app experience in multitasking on Android over iOS. Even if I jump from, let's say, Mail to Discord on iOS, it always refreshes, and I'm like, then I'm gonna do it to the point where I don't even want to use it. Not the same with Android. With Android, it's like, boom, I'm there. It's task switch, Discord, and it's there. It's refreshed. It's instant. Even if I haven't used it in a while, even if its memory footprint has been diminished automatically, it works very, very well. Oh, thank you. Someone sent, it looks like Tidbits pasted that. Oh, the keyboard height. Nice. Oh, cool. I had no idea you could do that. You learn something new by doing live video streams. Thank you very much for that. We also have a super chat from SkyCop70. He says, I've used the calendar quite a bit on the iPhone. Have you used any calendar functions yet? Yes, I've been setting things up. Been showing Diana. I'm like, look, I need to move calendars. Not that she uses it all that often, but I think it's inconsequential for her to change to this as a calendaring system versus what we have been using before. It should be relatively inconsequential because she doesn't use the calendar that much apart from saying, hey, I want to go here with Jedi. Hey, I want to go here with Jedi. And that's largely what it is. And anything else is nothing. And then I'll put things in the calendar too. But in terms of a shared calendar experience, I'd rather just use one calendar, like a family calendar. They don't really have a family calendar outright in Google. I wish they did. I wish they had more family-oriented features. They do have like family subscriptions for like music or YouTube Red and all that stuff, but they don't have like, here's family calendaring and tasks and shopping lists, and here's family this, that, and the other thing. You can invite people to those things, which of course I've done, but beyond that, it's not, unfortunately, as seamless as I think it really could be. Let's see here. Detroit Board tweeted out that the display was garbage, and Erica Griffin posted a video that I watched before tuning in. I was able to see the color shift in the video in my ancient 2004 cinema display and left me horrified. Yeah, some people aren't a fan of it. I guess it just doesn't bother me that much. Maybe I haven't been spoiled by better screens, though. And that could very well be the case. But it just doesn't bother me as much. It doesn't. I mean, I see it here, but it's just not. It's not a thing that is an impediment to my my general experience. I really like the general software experience outright that I couldn't get otherwise. That's something that I appreciate more than anything. And someone had posted something suggesting that the new Samsung Galaxy Note 8 has a decent software experience and compares favorably to the Pixel in many ways. In many ways isn't always, or it isn't insanely that much better. And so I don't know. I'm still erring on the side of Pixel. The software experience just seems to be straightforward. It's clean. It's uncluttered. And that's something that I appreciate. I'm willing to put up with hardware shortcomings. But remember, I was willing to put up with hardware shortcomings back in the day with the first iPhone. I went from using a 3G device with a keyboard that took video to one that didn't. I was on edge. And I loved it. So what does that tell you? I haven't changed my perspective in terms of believing that software provides for a better experience and the hardware needs to catch up. There are ways to mitigate certain shortcomings, I believe. Things that I'm willing to do. Not everybody's willing to do. Some people will be just as fine with their first-gen Pixel. I'm not slagging it at all. I mean, a first-gen Pixel would potentially be a solid phone. I'd see very little to complain about. Never had one, never tried one, don't know if I will be able to. But it's just it's a fact of life. This is what you got to deal with. You got to deal with the hardware for what it is. Nick Kyra, if you can deal with it, I absolutely can. It's not a showstopper for me. Nick Kyra says, help. Which of the two do you prefer overall? I have not, unfortunately, had a chance to get this other one set up. I mean, it takes a little while to get things set up. Once I have, gotten this one, up and running and going, I will probably load a tester account on the smaller device just to do some side-by-side comparisons. I like the feel of the 2 more than the feel of the 2XL because it's just easier to grip. Like, if I wanted to launch the camera, it's not as easy to do on the larger device as it is seemingly on the smaller one. It's just, it feels better in the hand. It grips. I have small hand, so it grips better in the hand. But I like that feature. I like to be able to launch the camera just by double tapping and then boom, boom, swipe, changes the theoretically changes the direction to the selfie cam or not. See, there we go. That works. See, that to me is neat, but I'm not going to rely on do this double dip to turn the camera around because it doesn't always work for me. And I like precision. I like knowing that when I'm going to do something, it's going to work. So that's the answer to that question. Tidbit says, I don't mind a jank here and there, but what I really hate is redrawing. Yeah, redrawing is... I don't like either one. Redrawing drives me nuts. I am not a fan of redrawing at all. At all. Ugh. I can't stand it. It's like visual barf. I have an issue with some of the things that I made note of and I think it's an Android thing. But specifically like seeing certain things populate after the layout's already been presented in like settings, like suddenly information will pop in there. I'm like, I didn't think, why was it popping? Why doesn't it pop up right away? Why is it popping in after the fact? It just looks a little awkward. I've tried the double tap to kind of wake up, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like double tap, it works, and then some other times maybe I tap too slowly. I don't know. Have I tried saying to the Google Assistant, may the force be with you? Okay, I haven't yet, but let's try it. May the force be with you. I have to unlock it. And she said, and also with you, but as I unlocked it, she was saying it, so it clipped itself. So again, there are some things that need to be polished. That would be a bug that I would note, like as I was unlocked. Okay, I got to remember to make that bug. Because if I don't write this stuff down, I'll forget. Okay. Invoked Google Assistant from lock screen, and it prompted me to unlock after asking the query, then clipped audio from its response. Okay. That's something I'll report. It's a shortcoming. Wait a minute.
I'm sorry. I'm not Luke. This is kind of awkward.
Wow. Wait a minute. That's weird. I don't remember invoking the Google Assistant or pressing a button. I may have accidentally tapped it or squeezed the side. Yeah, I may have accidentally squeezed the sides. But it heard me say, I am your father. And it says, I'm sorry, I'm not Luke. I think that was an accidental Easter egg there. Oops. All right, next point on my list. I would appreciate different textures on the side buttons. I could make my own textures because I guess they're plastic, which is, scary. But this button feels a lot like the longer button, and I would appreciate like a different kind of texture just by feel, because I'm not necessarily looking am I double tapping the volume button, and I've done that before, or am I turning up the volume? But since the buttons are on the same side, they're not as easy to navigate outright. Like, oh, I'm holding the power button. No, it's the volume button. I got to remember to go up. Or if am I looking for the volume? Oh, do I have to go down? Is there one down there? So I just wish texture was a better indicator. I've only had maybe one or two phones that did that. Was it this one? Yeah, like the Nexus 6P. You knew you were on the power button because there was kind of a grid-like feel on the metal. That was nice. That was very nice. I'm not sold on the Pixel launchers, and I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. Like, this is another thing that somehow got updated. I don't know how or what or where or why, but at some point from the time that I started to use it to now, the search bar that shows up at the top, like on the default, find the right phone here. The default, as I unlock this, is as I swipe up, it's a text, search apps. That's what it looks like. And I was like, okay, so I don't know if that's a Google keyboard or Gboard thing or the Pixel Launcher thing or after an update. But you can see it goes to search apps. On here, it doesn't. On here, it goes to the Google search bar. And it's just bizarre to me. But the Pixel Launcher is kind of taking some getting used to. I'm not sure if I really like it. And I'm inclined to start trying other launchers, even if they happen to not be as stable, as clean, or as full-featured as the Pixel Launcher might be. So that's a thing. I can get into launchers at a later date. There are many recommendations. I've used a few of them myself. I'd be happy with the lawn chair launcher if and when it gets stable, because it's got everything I might need on a launcher outright. Rest in Beast 1982 says, Chris, do you know you can set a smart lock to react to a geofence around your home? Would save you all this unlocking. Yeah, it would, but I also have a daughter to contend with, and if she gets the phone, the last thing I want is to find out wacky things happened. Oh, the Google app got updated today. Yeah, no, it did. I was doing a lot of that updating. In fact, I even joined the beta to see about getting the new search bar, But then I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't be messing with beta software, and that really kind of messed with things for a while. So maybe it was the Google app that ultimately pushed that update. That was just weird for me. Sometimes I don't mind when things change, but like I want to know why. Like, where did that come from? What happened there? That's kind of how I feel about any kind of changes. Let's see here. Looking at the chat, people are like throwing out a whole bunch of recommendations for launchers. Nova Launcher. I have Nova Launcher. I will install it. Have no problem with it. I like Lawn Chair and where that's going. Eddie Ringel recommended Action Launcher, so I'll try that. Kenneth Arethan asked, have you tested the screen side by side in low light? Saw you just looked at the XL2 screen. I have it in low light outright. So Pixel 2 XL or iPhone 8 Plus, difficult to answer that question right now. Each phone has its benefits and drawbacks. I don't think there's a perfect answer that would accommodate everybody. But I'll get to that. That'll be a future video. The iPhone 8 versus the Pixel 2 XL. The iPhone 8 Plus, I should say, specifically. You need to set up trusted voice. I did. At least I think I did. Let me open settings here. I know, and then you can say, oh, Moke Moogle. You can, got that? No. Woe-way Woogle. You could say that, and then I think that's the trusted. I set it up where I had to train it, so I know I did that.
So I can't help you with that at the moment.
My essential just went off. Stock Brokerton 420 says, "Love you, bro. Snort oxygen drink. Vegan water. Papa bless." Hey, Liz, can you screenshot that for chat? Because I don't think anybody's going to understand what the hell he's saying. Granted, he's got 420 there in his title. Kind of makes you... I hope you're in Washington or California or Colorado, mate. Yes, it is true. Lawn Chair Launcher was originally on XDA, but they brought it over to Google Play. It's still in beta. You can just download it. It's not in general release. It is still a little unstable, but it was working just fine, or fine enough. In fact, I think am I using this? By the way, the fingerprint scanner is very, very swift on the Pixel. Yeah, I'm using that currently on the Lawn Chair Launcher. I'm using it currently on the 6S. The 6P, and I like it. I like it a lot for a lot of different reasons. I mean, I like to swipe down from the middle of the screen. That's very handy. I don't know if the widget here is compatible. The Weather Underground widget. I don't know if all widgets are necessarily compatible, but it's been a generally clean experience for me. I like it. I like it, and it's not even final, and it gives me everything that I might need, like the toggles and the layout and all that stuff. I'm not even using, honestly, if you notice, I'm not using any icons here. The one thing I probably need to do is better organize. I wish there's probably a third-party launcher that helps manage the app drawer. I wish I could make my categories in the app drawer outright. I think Nova Launcher does that. I want to say they do. It's been so long. Because that way I don't have to have any icons on the screen. I can just swipe up and there's everything in groupings based upon, what it is that I'm looking for. So that's something that... it's something that I have to look into. Let's see here. I'm looking at chat, looking for comments, because really, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask, because I've said everything I wanted to say about this one-day impression, one-day review. I figured I'd be about an hour long, so we're about there. Does the Pixel 2 the same size as the iPhone 7? I don't have a 7 with me. But yeah, it seems to be comparable. I don't have a problem with it at all. There's nothing that's wrong with it. Do you turn on the notification lights? I didn't, because I was like, why would I do that? Like, I thought about it, and I'm like, but I get plenty of notifications anyway. I'm not too worried about it. It would just be one more thing that may annoy me. Like, I already see the notifications. I don't need to see notifications in a light. So the answer to that question is... no. I've been fine without any kind of notification light. Though it is something that you can toggle. Stefan Koravubius asks, how's your experience with Chrome compared to Safari? I think Safari is faster. I like that. It's cleaner. I like that. I do like what Chrome does a little more than Safari. The thing that I don't like about Chrome outright is its scrolling performance. Its general performance is not stellar. I'm not talking about JavaScript being faster. I'm just talking about like just scrolling an average web page. It's pretty bad. It's really bad. It's not fun. It's not good. Christopher Clark asks, is this considered the go-to Android device in your opinion? So here's the caveat to that. People are slagging both the new Pixels because of their hardware. So if you have a problem with the hardware and the screen and this, that, and the other thing, the thing I have to say to my dad is no. He like if I don't answer my dad like within a minute, he gets antsy. He's like, "Why aren't you answering me?" Have your parents done that to you? It's really funny. No, Dad, I'm live right now on YouTube. You should know if you turned on notifications, which you can do if you look on the YouTube webpage and you press the little bell icon. You can be notified. Have you subscribed to my channel? Hello? I don't think my dad subscribes to me on YouTube. How sad's that? Maybe he subscribed to the other channel. That's where we're doing TLDR next. If I didn't answer any of your questions, we're doing another live stream again today. It'll be in the other YouTube channel, youtube.com/LockerGnome. And then after that live stream, we'll be simulcasting the podcast on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo. So there's plenty more live streaming for you. Head over to youtube.com/LockerGnome. Turn on notifications, subscribe for TLDR every day. And then over on twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo, you can also sub to me on Twitch. We have over 100 subs and patrons here in the Discord chat. That's a bonus. You sub to me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo, and you get access to the 24/7 Discord chat full of nerds and geeks. Chock full, brimming. Like this, it's overflowing with nerdiness and geekosity 24/7. But you only get in there through twitch.tv/Chris Pirillo, being a sub, or becoming a patron on patreon.com/Chris Pirillo. So that's the thing you got to do. The PIP is a bit wonky at times. Well, it is a relatively new feature. I've only used it a couple times, but also Google Maps. This is a huge bonus for Android over iOS. Google Maps can be PIP'd. Any maps can be PIP'd. The YouTube video can be PIP'd. You can do split screen. There's so many things that the Nexus, I'm doing it again. The Pixel 2 series can do, or the Pixel can do, or Android can do, that iOS simply can't, specifically on smaller screen devices. Jameson 2 comes in with the super chat. I hope you're using SwiftKey. I am not. Don't want it. Tried it. Not interested. The Gboard is working just fine. I'm okay with it. I don't like adding a lot of third-party stuff. I know I was saying that about launchers, but I may not have much of a choice. If I can find a launcher that helps me accommodate or achieve my goals, then I feel I'm going to be doing well with it. And I know everyone's going to have a different experience, and that's fine. You can make your own experience if you want, completely on your own. This has just been my experience. So far, so good. I'm still excited to continue to set it up, and continuing to kind of move things, kind of quote unquote move things over. You know, remembering, oh, I've got to install this app. Oh, I got to do this, and how am I going to handle this moving forward? How am I going to do that? And just figuring out kind of a new workflow. But it's definitely not something that I'm going to see as an uphill battle. Carlos Day says, first app you downloaded on the phone. Oh, it was a Google app. I couldn't tell you. I just went in. I was like, updates. You know, what's here? And then I did that. Let's see. I wonder if I can get it. No updates are currently available. So I got all the updates. I'm an update fiend. Although I am curious, some of the things that came with it were not enabled. Like, I'm not enabling things if I don't know what I'm enabling, but like there are certain things that are installed but not enabled. So I'm like, okay, well, it must know something that I don't know, so I'm just gonna leave those things alone. I'll be fine just leaving those things alone. That's definitely not a problem. Lazar Otazevic says you should close the other channel. The answer to that question is no, for a few reasons. One, this video was about one topic, my experience with the Pixel 2 XL. TLDR every day is about the topics you choose, not the topics I choose. Do you understand the difference there? Moreover, putting two videos in one channel every day is usually a problem. And I realized today we had an exception to the rule. We had to re-upload the Pixel 2 XL unboxing for a higher quality version. Hopefully you don't mind watching that again and liking that again. Hopefully you didn't mind this video and you remember to like it. I assume everybody's watching this video is liked the video. It's not that hard to do. You press the button. It's inconsequential. Like, tap. So, thank you, everybody, for your support in whatever ways that you see fit to give it. I will see you in TLDR, that live broadcast, in the other YouTube channel, as well as potentially the podcast recording. Thank you for becoming a sub if you did today. Thank you for becoming a patron if you did today. Look, someone new joined the chat room. That's how fast it happens. Easy to do. I do appreciate the support, all the super chats, for sure. And, I know that I did promise to do this in the video. And so I definitely want to, round this out. I did, because I only promised I would do this in one pixel video, but I thought it would be nice to effectively do it in another pixel video. I hope you don't mind. This is kind of like the scrolling credits at the end of a movie or a TV show. And this is something that I think deserves attention, because without any one of these people, I would not be talking about the Pixel right now. There's no way I would have been able to pull it off. That's something that you've got to keep in mind. Your support is absolutely critical. In fact, let me go ahead and check out chat. I will answer questions as I'm scrolling through here. So feel free to ask a few questions if you have any more qualifying questions. Someone asked if the Pixel 2 has an FM chip. I don't think it does. Not an FM chip outright. Oh, I have to add music too? Y'all have to make up your own music. Speeding Cheetah asks, where did Google move the setting to set YouTube to always stream and load HD quality? That is beyond me. Google changes their settings like left and right all the time. Couldn't answer that question. Solidus T asks, what's your favorite antivirus for Android? My favorite antivirus is not downloading things, and using, every possibility of blocking things from getting, into my feed outright. Being a little more savvy with my devices than most people, personally. Ains Baines asks, have you explored developer options? Not extensively, but I'm the kind of person that really doesn't like messing with the defaults a lot, if only because I don't want to accidentally trip something and then make it a worse experience without realizing that, oh, I should not have toggled that because I didn't know what was going on. The only thing that I have tweaked on the Pixel 2 XL has specifically been animation timings. I stepped them down. I kind of been going back and forth, like trying to see, well, is one really better than the other? Is this one just fine? It didn't necessarily improve jank or remove jank, but it was just, it's just a speedier kind of experience. So with that, I had, been toying with the idea of just turning off animations outright. And the thing that concerns me about turning off animations is that it's just not as good of an experience as you'd expect. But being able to step the animations down, I think, was the best thing that I could possibly do, or would recommend for anybody in the developer options. There are a few other things in developer options that I may play with, specifically if I'm comparing the performance of the Pixel 2 with the Pixel 2 XL, like the, show a GPU profiling, or basically allowing you to see when animations or something on the screen is doing a lot and potentially dropping frames, unoptimized apps, and there are tons of them left and right. In fact, one of the worst apps that you could possibly use on Android, can't believe I'm saying this, is the Google Play Store. It is so unoptimized. So unoptimized. So with that, thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. See, it was like a TV show. And now we're moving on to the other TV show. I love you. I appreciate you. At this point, I'm going to leave you I'm going to try that again. I love you. I appreciate you. And at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices, whatever they may happen to be. May the force be with you.